Hi, and welcome to today's session at Ecommerce Corner here at Certainly. My name is Marie Claire, and I'm your host today. And I am joined by two special guests, Nadin Kempel Sigh from Tiger Sweden and Richard James from Rat and Boa. So we're going to be talking today about how brands deliver premium customer service and experience, especially during those peak seasons. So as always, we actually have our e-commerce community, and we will share there all of these, the links afterwards, and also some feedback from the session. And we have at the end of this session 5 to 10 minutes of Q&A. So please don't hesitate by just asking questions in the Q&A section, and we'll make sure to make time as well. So let's get the ball rolling, and I'll go first with Nadin. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and Tiger Sweden? Thank you.
Yes, of course. Yes. So I'm Nadin, and I'm the customer service manager at Tiger Sweden. Tiger Sweden is a Scandinavian fashion premium brand that goes back actually to 1903. So it's a really, really old brand. We are selling both women and men's collection, but we are mainly known for our tailoring line. And I have been working with customers in the fashion industry for over 15 years. So I would say I know a bit about it.
Yes, definitely. And Rich, could you tell us a little bit about yourself too and Rat and Boa?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, my name's Rich. I'm the head of digital at Rat and Boa. We're a bit newer, founded in 2015. And yeah, we're a women's wear boutique fashion brand. So boutique luxury fashion brand. So yeah, it's pure women's wear. It's, I would say, the majority of our program is dresses. It's dresses in terms of sales, but we are expanding into new categories. We launched swimwear last year. And yeah, what else can I say? My role kind of covers CX, digital marketing strategy. Like, we're a pure D2C brand. And yeah, everything kind of e-commerce related.
Fantastic. So you're both premium brands, but also on a very different trajectory, I suppose, or the same in some respects. But Rat and Boa being quite a new company and Tiger of Sweden quite established. It's going to be very interesting through this session to see different approaches, different ways of processes and strategy as well. I think it's going to be super interesting. And on that note, Nadin, what are the most pressing pain points that you're seeing during those peak seasons? And what are and when are your peak seasons actually in Tiger Sweden?
Yes. At Tiger Sweden, we have, I would say, 2 peak seasons, and that's doing sale, the summer sale and the winter sale. And that means December, January, maybe also the beginning of February. And then we have the summer sale doing June and July. And I would say that the biggest challenge for us during the peak sales season is to keep the high service level, because that is extremely important for us. So with high service level, I mean like fast reply times, keep as many answers on one resolution as possible, but still having a really nice answer and explaining answer. So it's not just a really short answer when they ask questions. Then we also see extremely high returns. It's actually more of a trend at the moment that people are returning a lot, because they are also buying more sizes and into more colors and things like that. So we see some challenges there to keep the returns a bit lower. And then, of course, stock availability, because during sale, people are also buying more. And then it's just hard sometimes to keep the stock availability on the same level as the customers expected sometimes. So I would say that is some of the problems or issues or challenges that we see during the peak season.
Yeah, I think that's like very interesting. You're saying about kind of the logistics, supply chain issues. Do you have any like word of advice of how to kind of best prepare for that? I know that the market has also been changing very rapidly, and there is a lot of issues there, of course, with what's going on globally. But do you have any advice for those that are watching?
Yeah, I would say like the first advice is like we do like after each peak sales season, we actually sit together and we actually talk about what has been the issues during the peak season and what can we prepare for next time so it doesn't happen again, or we can approach it in a different way. And we found out that a lot of things can actually be prepared before the sale. So we do that, and that could be, of course, preparing the warehouse of like which dates are we going on a higher level of percentage of the sale, so we know that okay, this can be busy, so they can get more staff in, so we don't see all the delays in delivery. That could be an example. Then we are updating the help center on the website with helpful articles and questions that we see more of during sale. We are also being more visible on the site. So it could be that the first couple of days during sale, we actually do extend the opening hours for our customer service team. We are more visible on the chat, and then of course we make sure that the chat bot is updated. So because that's the only one that is live 24/7. So that the chatbot also needs to be updated with the sale dates and what are the rules during sales and all these things. Then we create something called macros in our community, where we communicate in our communicate system, where we actually, because we do see a lot of these general questions being like, sometimes it's 20 or 25 or even 50 from the same questions every day. So instead of our agents having to type in the same answer again and again, we actually do update these templates and macros, so they can actually just put in the answer really fast and then maybe just adjust a little bit.
So to help with the efficiency of your team there as well,
yes,
I can imagine that's vital importance.
Yeah.
How does that change? Like, how is that different? Or perhaps you're also seeing very similar things here, Rich, at Rat and Boa. I know your kind of sales season is slightly different to Tiger Sweden's. Could you give your viewpoint on that and what Nadin's been saying?
Yeah, so I think Nadin's made a lot of really good points. I mean, the simple issue is volume. So, during a peak period, we can go from an average of 250 tickets a day to an average of 550 tickets a day. So, that's 100% increase, right? And customer service, especially for a premium brand, it's all about, there's a lot of information that you want to be able to convey to the customers. You want to be able to advise someone if they've got an event coming up. If someone's really interested in the fabric composition, some people, they might really want to understand what viscose is, which is actually made from tree pulp. And, we source the majority of our stuff now from FSC sustainably sourced viscose. So there's a lot of information that customer service teams can add if they have the time and the availability to do it. It's not feasible to hire the people short term for your customer service team. So you can't really scale the team with that kind of knowledge or a peak period in the same way that you can scale in some other parts of the business. So yeah, I think sort of using automation, as Nadin was saying, is like really important. What else do we see that's important? For us, for example, this year, sales are up 80% year on year across 3 continents and well over 100 countries. So how to provide a consistent level of service. So for us, this is things like configuring for our agents so that they can see in the side panel when they're talking to someone, who is this person? How many times have they shopped with us? Are they a loyal customer? Are they a first-time customer? If they've got a package, using our integration with Aftership, where is the package? Can we see that it's in a depot somewhere? Has it left? Having all that information available just makes it much easier to give the customer a much more personalized response. And I think, like Nadin was saying, having a macro that you can pull into a conversation, but then you can personalize it on the top, that's just really elevates the level of service. You don't just kind of copy and paste, you have that, but then you can add the kind of value added element on top. So I think leaning on automation and systems that scale, and then having the human element to add the premium aspect is the key to providing the sort of level of service for brands like us.
Yeah, I think you had a very good point there about being efficient as a team and using these technologies and automations to not necessarily have to hire someone in or a big team for those peak seasons. Any word of advice with certain technologies and automations for those watching today, Rich?
Yeah, so I think on the customer service side, things like Gorgeous are good. Obviously, Certainly's really helped us because, you know, it is like Nadin was saying, it's available 24 hours a day. You have the capability now with like, you know, sort of Google's language API can translate stuff into 50 languages. So in terms of scalability, that really helps. What else has been good? Klaviyo, really good for email. You know, we're talking about peak seasons. There's a lot, I think, like Nadin was saying about planning, proactive communication. That can be a really key thing. I think the main thing is don't overpromise and underdeliver. You know, if you can normally provide 24-hour shipping to in the UK, for example, which we can offer, or to major European cities, what are you going to be able to offer during your sale period? So for our customers, we extend that out to 48 hours. I think some customers can be understanding if you communicate proactively, but yeah, it's that don't kind of overpromise and underdeliver. You know, I think especially in peak periods, it's a bit like that scene in Interstellar where, like, you know, they're on the planet and like 1 hour on the planet is like 7 years in real life. Like if you have an issue during a sale, like we had this issue once where customers from Australia couldn't get into the Australian store. When the stock's sold, the stock's sold, right? So if they miss that period, they're going to miss out on the stock. And an issue which, you know, you can have something for 4 hours live on your store in normal times. It can be fixed. No one will really notice. Planning and putting stuff in place so that doesn't happen during a sale can have a really big impact on the customer experience.
Yeah, definitely. And Nadin, maybe you can give a little bit linking to Rich's comment here about kind of what items to put in a sale. Perhaps that's from past collections. Like, what are your advice to really make sure that you give a good customer experience that you know, that you keep up with demand?
Yeah, it's of course really hard because of course it's not the new collection that is on sale, and you still have maybe new things on the site that you also want to show. So it's like Rich also said, it's clear communication. If the customer doesn't feel that they are misguided, or if they feel that it's clear what they can expect, then they are also less angry when it maybe
Yes.
if there's something goes wrong, because it's just like, so having a sales side, of course, how it's built up and all these things, but we see on the customer service side that if something is wrong, or if they were misled, or if there's something that they misunderstood or anything, then to keep the high service level for us, of course, you just have to take it also case by case, and it might take a little longer, but you have to have some guidelines. But you also have to expect that there are just more people on the site, and there are more different expectations from each customer. So you also have to be, or we at least decided to be more flexible in how we solve the issues from the customer. And we also see a really, really good satisfaction score when we actually give over an option to the customer. So if something goes wrong, or if we don't have the size that they were expecting, or they want to exchange to a size that we don't have, that we actually give them different options to choose from. That is also a really good way of having this communication with the customers, because they feel that they were invited in to find the right solution.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point. We all, as human beings, like to feel empowered, right?
Yes.
So to that point, Rich, like, what other points can you advise for those watching today to really help empower the customer in these peak seasons as well? Perhaps that's from helping them self-serve, for instance, FAQs, I don't know.
Yeah, good point. I think having self-serve as an option is good, so that if there is something that a customer wants to do that they can self-serve, they can do it. So like for example, with us, like in general, summer is our busiest selling window, and up to 50% of the inquiries that we can get sometimes are stock related. Our products are often sold out, so it's when is this product coming back into stock? I've got a party coming up in 2 months. I really want to buy this dress. I've had it bookmarked. Is it going to be available by then, or like when can I get hold of it? So the simple solutions that we've been working on is basically just a page on our site where we can just curate all of the products. If we can speak to the production team and they have a date when the product's going to be in the UK, we can just put them onto this page so the customers can see in one place everything that is currently got a date that to be restocked. If it's not on that page, then we don't currently have a date for it, and then they can just sign up in the size that they want via Klaviyo to get the alert when it comes back in their size. So it just makes it a lot easier for the customer because they can see in one place everything that's available. I think with like shipping, like a lot of shippers are getting better now where customers can do stuff like divert a package, change the destination, configure where they want it to be dropped off to a friend, to a neighbor, these kind of things. So yeah, I think a lot of self-serve stuff like that. Or another one that I think is quite good is having a half-hour kind of cooling off window between when an order is placed and when an order is purchased. So in that period, if the customer wants to amend the order, they don't have to cancel and reorder. They have a period where they can kind of tweak it. So I think there's a lot of things like this now that you can add so that it's an option that's available. And if it is available, and I think, yeah, the sort of maybe like really obvious one is just having really clear information, customer service perspective, be that in chat or on your knowledge center, so the customers know how to do all of these things if they want to go and look for it. And with all of that, it frees up your agents to handle more sort of stylistic advisory questions or, kind of do the more value added stuff if you have that self-serve in place.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And you both being premium brands, of course, your communication with the customer is key. And just really using it and using these self-serve options to be able to free up time for your customer agents for when they need that human support. Like you were just mentioning, Rich, maybe someone wants that dress for their holiday in Greece. What color did they want, or what would suit me? Nadine, can you see that also helping at Tiger of Sweden?
Yes, of course. It's some of the same things that they like, that they, if they have all these general questions, they can find them themselves on the help center, or they can read an article or chat with the chatbot or whatever. And whenever we have these more complex cases that can't really be automated, then of course we would like to spend more time on these cases and give them a more specific answer, either on phone or email or chat or whatever. So yes, we do see the same.
And Nadine, with your peak seasons and sale seasons, how are you seeing kind of the return rates, and how are you dealing with those today?
Oh, I don't want to talk about return rates. Unfortunately, we do see this trend with customers buying a lot of different sizes and colors because it's free to return. So, and also they have the option of payment that they don't have to pay right away. They can pay with Klarna, or then they get an invoice and then they have 14 days of payment. So they are just putting a lot of stuff in the basket and buying it and then get it delivered. And then they, of course, return sometimes 80% of it because they bought the same item in 4 different sizes. And we do see this trend, and we have discussed it so much. And I think what we can't really stop the trend, but what we can do is to be much more clear in our sizing and our guidelines, our fitting guides, trying to make them understand that it is better just to buy the right size from the beginning. And also maybe, I wouldn't say that we want to be like saying, hey, you should think about the environment, but they should. So we are trying in a nice premium way also to make it visible that we are thinking about that, and that we recommend that our customers are thinking about it too, because it does have an effect on the environment when we have that many returns.
Yeah, definitely. And I think especially over the e-commerce space in peak seasons, be it Black Friday, be it summer sales, I think it's a crazy amount of like 40% increase in returns. And part of me is saying, how can we get over that? I think it does start with education, right? And Rich, you were mentioning about having customer inquiries about fabrics being sustainable and things. What's your approach at Rat & Boa?
I mean, it's a difficult one because if you had a physical store, you would want the customers in there trying on the clothes.
Exactly.
Clothing is a tactile thing, right? You want to be able to see how it fits, and you want to be able to try things on. So how do we offer this in a sort of e-com sort of direct consumer model? Can we consider stuff like offering the customer the chance to like carbon offset their shipping, for example? Could you have an eco shipping option? Is this the kind of thing? I mean, yeah, it's a difficult topic. I think things like Easy Size, for example, which uses some like really cool sort of like AI based basically the more customers who complete the survey and then the size and then it's returned, that data is all fed back in, so we can make these things we can make these systems as efficient and predict as easy as well as possible on what size a customer should have. But it is a tough question in terms of how we can encourage them not to kind of order multiple items in multiple sizes, because I can understand it from the perspective, they want to kind of try things on and they want to see it, but I think our job is just to make our like Nadin was saying, how can we make our sizing stuff as efficient as possible, like with the things like the quizzes, so the customers can get recommended the right size, really clear measurements, consider all of the different measurement scales that you can kind of put on there, sort of EU, US, multiple different countries have their own scales. Information, so this is one that a lot of customers want to know kind of the measurements of the model, or what the measurements of the clothes. Is it measurements of the body? Is it measurements of the garment? So our job's just to make that as efficient as possible, I think.
Yeah, fantastic. And I often think when I'm looking at websites, I think, oh, that model, I wonder what size she is. She looks maybe a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller there than me. How can customer service help me find the right size? Nadin, I'm aware that you have actually, through the chatbot, some kind of functionality. Could you say a little bit about that with sizing and how it works?
Yeah, it's like you said, we do have trained the bot, so the bot knows which model is showing the items online. So if a customer is asking a question about the sizing, then the bot would ask back, so what size do you normally wear? And then do you like it slim fitted, or would you like it a little bit oversized? Or so it's asking questions, and then it pulls out like a recommendation size. And people can also ask, hey, which size is this model wearing? Because I think I'm similar. And then it will say, okay, this model is wearing this size in this suit. So that's how we trained the bot also. But we have also investigated things like showing the clothes on live, like in videos on the website. So you can actually have a model having like turning around, and especially with suits, it's so difficult to buy a suit online. So people can see, okay, that's the difference between this suit, and that's how it fits. And it's easier to see in a video where people are actually moving. So there are, of course, a lot of difficult or different difficult options that you can actually offer to help the customers choose the right size from the beginning.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think just giving that high level of support and empowering the customer through the buying journey is definitely what you guys are doing great at. And I wondered, during peak season especially, do you think that there is a higher level of expectations from customers?
Definitely. Maybe not higher, but different. It's like the customers are waiting for the sale, and they get newsletter, and they maybe get something pops up on Facebook and things like that. So they are like a little bit, I don't know, they just go a little bit crazy when it's sale, and it could be, and if something goes wrong then doing the payment or doing the shipping or they didn't get the order confirmation or they ordered the wrong size and they want to exchange. It's like the expectations are that I have to have help right now because I know that everybody else is also buying on sale items, and I'm afraid that it gets too late delivered or it's getting out of stock, or so they are more, I can't find the word, but they are just more like eager to get an answer really fast. So I would say it's higher and different in the peak seasons. Yeah, and of course we are trying the best we can to react on it. And I would say fast reaction and fast replies are mostly what we see that they are really satisfied about, because if they write an email or chat and they can get an answer right away, they are more calmed down, I would say. And because what we also see, if we don't answer them pretty fast, then they will just write another email and a chat and ring, and because they are really eager to get some kind of an answer.
Yeah, so definitely instant responses is necessary, and I think that also goes hand in hand with kind of demographic or which generation also that you're selling to. Like Rich, I know it's really important for you guys at Rat and Boa to have these instant responses. Do you see a difference? I'm just thinking of like the age demographic of both your businesses. Rich, could you give a little bit of insight into that?
I think it's very interesting. I think demographics, I think every company is going to be different, and I would advise everyone to like do a bit of like, there's so much cool stuff you can do now with customer segmentation. So like if you can collect some qualitative data and then some quantitative data and then do some kind of segmentation on your customers, like a lot of people are applying like machine learning techniques now to your customer base, so that rather than you trying to look at an Excel of X thousand people with like a load of survey response and their buying data and trying to see the trends, sort of machine learning AI techniques are much better because computers can look at this stuff 1,000 times in an hour, and they can look at it in 3D, and they can do all of this stuff that we can't do as humans. So what you might find will differ from business to business. It may be demographics, it may be like Gen Z, maybe something to do with age, it may be just to do with sort of people's approach to the way that they view products. Do they care about quality? Do they care about price? Do they care about the environment? There's so many different things. I think it's harder to be prescriptive about that, and I would recommend everyone to kind of go away and do your own segmentation and find out what's most important to your customers, and then sort of build some solutions off the back of that.
No, great advice there for those watching, definitely. I suppose my question is about customer empowerment. I suppose you don't really know, and that's one of the age-old problems with e-commerce. You don't know who is on your site, who is shopping, and I suppose it's a way of collecting data using automations as well, using the chatbot, getting data there, and really making sure that you're kind of answering your customers' needs. On that note, have you received anything through these kind of automations, data that you've got that have surprised you or you've not been anticipated?
I think for us, for a lot of businesses, the product page is just so important, because the product page is where you'll typically see your biggest drop off from, people looking at a product to adding to cart. You can go from over 50%, over 70% to, 5% adding to cart, so this is such a key page. Now, you don't want your page, if you're a premium brand like Amazon, where it's like a meter long and you've got like a ridiculous amount of information on there. So like how do you cater for all these different customers? And the chatbot has been really interesting for us, because we are proactively collecting the information that customers can type in. For us, the key thing that's come out is there's been lots of questions about product information. So like you were saying, Mary-Claire, what size is the model? We don't have that on all of our product pages at the moment. We need to start adding that. Is the product sheer? What is the fabric like? Is it stretchy? What is the fabric made of? In terms of, people might have specific questions about, what is viscose? What is Cupro? Questions about sustainability, maybe stuff about shipping. Is there anything else? Let me just check my list. Yeah, I think in general, there's been just a lot of stuff about fit, and being able to collect this information from the Certainly charts has given us a load of ideas in terms of what we want to improve on our product pages to try and solve those kind of queries.
That's great. So it's not just for the customers empowerment. It's also for you guys to kind of understand the customer, where you can improve your website, what information you can put in. I think it's nice to see it from that angle as well. I think that's super cool. I am wary of time, and we've actually got some really great questions from our guests. So I was actually going to start with you, Nadin. And there's one that says, has the cost of living affected these normal problems? So I presume like demand, the increased cost of living. I can see it even myself when I get my electricity bill at the moment. So how do you imagine that affecting maybe this year's sales?
Yeah. Of course, we can't really see what it is. And I would say it might not have affected our sale yet. Now the sale ended, but of course we are looking into this, and we are aware that people might take it down a notch on the fashion shopping. At the same time, we did just have people are going out again. People are going to weddings again. They need new suits. They need new dresses. So we also see a huge demand on the whole tailoring side. It has been 2 years with Corona where we sold a lot of jeans and T-shirts and socks and underwear and things like that. But we do see that the Tiger customer, the original Tiger customer that bought suits and dresses and things like that, they are eager to buy something again because they are going out. So we haven't really seen the effect yet, but we are aware of it, and it will happen. Of course, it will. Actually, I'm not sure what we're going to do about it, because it's just hard, because we are a premium brand and we do sell clothes that are not cheap. So, yeah. But we are, of course, we are really much looking into being more visible on the fact that we are quality. So if you buy something, it won't last for 6 months. It should last a lifetime. So this is something that we, of course, will be more visible on, and then take that direction instead. So if you buy something, then it is really good quality, and you can have it for many, many years.
Yeah. I also just, again, with the sale, the pandemic and everything like that, I'm sure you're also seeing, Rich, that now people are going on holidays. I don't know if you're probably directly affected as of yet, but I can imagine, as you mentioned before, your sales have just increased actually due to, now everyone can go abroad, and also they can go to work and wear their suits, like Nadin said, in Tiger Sweden.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had sort of strong sales even in the lockdown period. I think because people had that more disposable income, and I think in that sort of macro at the moment, this kind of inflationary period, there just is that spike in demand, and obviously we don't know. I mean, I think in these early stages of inflation, everything kind of seems really good because it seems like there's loads of demand. There's like a load of, everyone's been locked down, right? So there's like a load of pent up. Everyone wants to go on holiday. They want to do all of these things, and obviously the medicine for that isn't really that appealing because it's basically to go into a recession by kind of raising all the interest rates, right? So suddenly, for us in the UK, when people's energy bills start sort of topping out at £4,000 a year, how are you going to have that extra disposable income for clothes, right? So we don't know. No one knows what's gonna kind of happen next. But I think, yeah, you just want to make sure that you've got stuff like your forecasting dialed in as much as possible, and there's some sort of that's the kind of thing now with all of the advents and analytics, where it's a lot easier and better to kind of forecast than it kind of was previously. So I think you've just got to focus on that and just have your operations as efficient as possible. And in terms of your point earlier about, customers' increased requirements during these times, I think, you've got to make sure that you don't under deliver during these periods, and then hopefully you can use your systems to personalize. So personalization can be as simple as, customer buys during a sale. It's the second time that they've purchased, just send them an email saying thank you. Thank you for purchasing with us again. We really appreciate it. That's like a nice piece of personalization. It's not incredibly sort of complex to set up, and I think the customers do appreciate that kind of sort of connection. So yeah,
definitely having that little human touch there goes a long way, right? I think for all of those business owners and those having direct consumer e-commerce stores at the moment, there's one question that says, what short-term methods do you have for streamlining processes? So probably the short-term goals, if you could give a little bit of advice there, Nadin.
Yeah, can you say it again? Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
So just what short-term methods do you have for streamlining the process or processes in the lead up to peak seasons? I remember you saying about macros. Maybe that's also a good place to start, or even the frequently asked question page or something.
Okay, I thought I should come up with something new, but yes, of course, like I talked about, it's like, yes, the macros, and also updating, like what Rich have said more than once, and I also said, it's like information. It's just so important that they know where to go and where to find, and so they don't have to search too long for it, or they don't have to be surprised, but you are actually visible. And how you do it and how you build it up on your site, of course, that's individual for each brand. But I think making sure that your articles are updated and that your help centers are updated, and chats or chatbot, or and making macros so you can answer fast, and all these things. Yes, I would say,
definitely. Great answer there, Nadin. And also, we have one last question. Probably Rich, if you could answer this one. How do you imagine customer habits changing in the future?
I think people, how do I expect them to change in the future, customer habits? I guess, just general standards of e-com. I think especially in the last couple of years, like the amount of fashion spending which has moved from physical stores to e-com has kind of spiked up significantly. And I think, generally just the general standard of the competition is getting much higher. So I think I think just in general, people expect sort of a better base level of service. Like, it's very rare these days, which happened until quite recently, you'd be trying to buy something on your mobile and you're sent some really zoomed out box like that to put your card details in. It doesn't really happen that much anymore, so you kind of have to make sure that you've got the basics in order. I think stuff like it's quite an old one now, but I think mobile first. I think this is something that I think everyone should be thinking about. Next time you're like looking at your own website, just if you're on Chrome, you can just flip it to the mobile view so that you're looking at your site how you would see it on a phone. Just make sure that you're looking mobile first, because I think the majority of people will be seeing 60% of their revenue potentially, if it's a fashion brand, being spent on mobile. So always make sure you're considering that mobile experience. I think what else? I think just more personalization. I think personalization has gone from like a cool sort of thing that people were trying to implement to more of sort of a core thing that I think you need to be offering to be on a good level, like a good, consistent, automated email program, giving your customer service team access to easy personal information on the customers so that they can see it during the chat. I think these are things that are going from nice to haves to kind of things that you really want to have embedded, basically.
Yeah, I think that's it's definitely an increase in customer expectation, like you say, and personalization there. And I am wary of time. Time is up. And I just wanted to say a huge thank you to you, Nadin, and you, Rich, for joining our session today. It's been really insightful. I have learned a lot. So I hope those watching have also learned a lot as well. We also have some customer stories on the Certainly website, which we will share as well on our social media channels, and also the Tiger of Sweden website and Rat & Boa website, if people are curious to find out more. Thank you. And we also, I need to just mention before we sign off that we actually have another e-commerce session on the 15th of September, where we'll be joined by Neil Forrest at Gorgeous and Nathan Lomax from Quickfire Agency as well as our Eduardo Abate from here in Certainly. So I hope you can join us then on the 15th of September. Thank you again, Nadin and Rich, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your days. See you.